Hello, caregivers. Today we are here with Catherine and Fran, and they are from the Arizona Caregiver Coalition. And okay, first of all, a big whoop whoop because what is this month?
The
Family
National,
Caregiver
yeah,
Month.
Family Caregiver Month.
Arizona Family Caregiver Month. So I know that you all know that because we are going bananas this month. We're having our 100-person paint night event tonight, and then our spa day on Saturday, and then a whole bunch of other stuff going on this month just to make sure that you caregivers know that you are seen and supported. And I thought, today would be just such a great day to talk about the Raise Family Caregiver Act. And this is something that is happening on a federal level. And it is to bring awareness actually to caregivers. How amazing is that, right? It's like it all is kind of falling in line. And so RAISE stands for Recognize, Assist, Include, Support, and Engage Caregivers. Like somebody is speaking my love language. I don't know how this happened, but I am so thrilled beyond words that it is. And so today we have these two wonderful women who are going to come through, talk a little bit about the RAISE Act, what they've already discovered, and how you can get engaged and how you can get what you want out of our government. What kind of supports do you want? What kind of supports do you need so that you can actually raise your child in the way that you want to and you don't feel all of this crazy stress and these endless battles that we all fight every single day. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'll just turn it over to you ladies, and why don't you walk us through a little bit of the initial report and then how people can actually contribute.
Sure. Thanks, Michelle. So as Michelle said, I'm Catherine. I'm the Program Development Coordinator with the Arizona Caregiver Coalition. And we have taken the time to review the RAISE Act, or it's also known as the 2022 National Strategy to Support Family Caregivers, that was made by the RAISE Act and then the Advisory Council to support grandparents raising grandchildren. So a lot of this act is focused on kinship and grandparent caregivers, but there is also a lot of good information that addresses caregiving as a whole and all types of caregivers. So they define a family caregiver as an adult family member or other individual who has a significant relationship with and who provides a broad range of assistance to an individual with a chronic or health condition, disability, or functional limitation. So that can be any of us who is caring for someone else who has any of those conditions is a family caregiver.
And we are both caregivers ourselves as well.
Yes, we both have caregiving duties ourselves. So we understand how the importance of caregivers and some of the recommendations that they made. So a lot of this document is recommendations that is on a federal and a state level, as well as actions for just other nonprofits like us or other actions you could take in your community to support and advocate for family caregivers. So there is this long 102-page document that goes over the act and a lot of the language around the act, some of the goals from the act. And there is also a separate document that is actual actions that communities and on the local level can take to help support family caregivers.
Okay,
So
and we're
some of
gonna
those,
just read it all right now. Ready?
Right.
yes, I'll speed read.
We suffered through it, so you all don't have
Yes.
to. You're welcome.
But there was a lot of good information that was included. So a lot of language around caregiving, a lot of assessing the caregiver situation as much as they could. There is limited reports out there about caregiving, but they did a really good job trying to talk about the financial burdens that many caregivers experience, the lack of support from their different various communities or organizations. And there were a lot of really unique actions that they could take. So some of it was on the federal level, like I said, where it's extending FMLA or offering different insurance benefits to family caregivers. Or there's some even stuff that's as small as going down to your local store and having a little discount card to get like 10% off a coffee or something if you're a family caregiver. So there was a lot of really good information, very broad, and trying to narrow it down as much as they could with a lot. There was over 500 actions that were recommended for all different types of organizations to take to support family caregivers.
Mostly government, but there's a lot of community actions as well that we're trying to focus on. I think.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have a few that, we're as Arizona Caregiver Coalition, we have reviewed this act and are looking to see, what what can be implemented in Arizona, if anything. And a few of these things definitely have some benefits in Arizona, but luckily Arizona does have a lot of caregiving resources available for family caregivers, but there's always room for growth. So there was definitely some good information that was included, specifically with like making sure that caregivers are part of the healthcare team, making that a standard practice from hospitals and doctors, knowing that, you know, the caregiver needs to be included and taking care of that loved one and be part of the health plan. And there were a few others that were recommendations on a hospital kind of care level, and also training for family caregivers. And they also did address the direct care workforce shortage and made recommendations for higher pay and better training and more opportunities for growth in the direct care workforce. And this act is open for public comment. So if anyone wants to take the time to review the RAISE Act or the National Strategy to Support Family Caregivers, it is open for public comment until November 30th. And I can share my screen too, just so you can see where to click to open that to go enter your public comment, if that would be.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I will just share my screen here.
I think some of it is very pie in the sky. I mean, they refer to things like paying the family enough so that they don't have to have another job, which is extraordinary, but it's a long-term goal, and I don't want to get too fantastical with our expectations, but they're all things we should be pushing for on a local level, on a state level, and on a federal level.
Yes. Yeah. And that was a really cool thing to see in this act, of the different components, that it's not just focusing on, you know, addressing it as a state level or on a federal level. They really took the time to show that we all can put in our own support and advocate for family caregivers. So this is the site to the strategy. So it's for on the Administration for Community Living site. And if you just go to this link, it takes you right to the 2022 National Strategy to Support Family Caregivers. You can put your public comments. So they have the components here that you can download, just PDFs for you to review with all of those different action items as well. And then you can go to this link here that says, "We need your input. Please submit your comments by November 30th. And if you just click on that link, then it takes you right to that page to talk about yourself, share your caregiving journey and what feedback you have for the act. If there is anything that you think needs to be adjusted or something that you felt that was not included that really needs to be, they are open for public comment, and they are seeking as much feedback from family caregivers as possible. This act was created with family caregivers support and input, but they are always looking for more. So if anyone has any other recommendations, you are more than welcome to submit your feedback, and they will take all feedback into consideration.
I think this is just such a great opportunity for all of the caregivers who are out there to raise your voice and be heard and really talk about the things that we need desperately as caregivers. Sorry, because we, sometimes as caregivers, we feel like we are unseen and unsupported. And I think we need to say that more often. I think we need to say that loudly, but we cannot just come with what is not given to us. We also need to come with solutions, right? So when you're giving these responses, what do we need? And what do you see? How do you see those needs being filled, right? So being very proactive with your approach. I think it's just such a great opportunity to actually have your voice heard and to advocate for what you need to be the best caregiver that you can be for our kids, because that's really what it comes down to. I was just speaking with somebody earlier, and it's like we created our charity, right? Because we saw a need for parents to be supported in education with resources, mentally, physically, with community surrounding them, all of these things, right? And that's what we've built into what we're doing. What else is there? What else is there out there? What is that bigger need? And then how are we going to start to fill it? And it's just a great opportunity for you guys to really get out there and say what you need, and say it to like the federal government who is asking for your input. And so we really want Arizona to be part of the conversation, because a lot of states probably won't be. And I can tell you from working with legislators and working with people in the government, not a lot of people talk to our legislators. They really don't. Not a lot of people actually make the effort to get to know them, to try to pass bills, to testify in Congress. Like, it doesn't happen very often. And so because of that, then you really have an opportunity to actually put what you want out there, right? So if only 1,000 people fill this out and we're 200 of them, that's awesome, right? That's a huge voice. And I think
Absolutely.
people just don't take the time to do these things, but these are the things that actually can get you results. So I don't know if you guys want to throw anything else in there about the process or what they can expect afterwards, or maybe even a little bit about what we're doing here in Arizona with the RAISE Act.
So yeah, so the RAISE Act, the strategy is a living, breathing document. So this will be updated fairly often with the councils that are working together. And again, as that public feedback is coming back, they will make adjustments to this document. So it is a living and breathing thing that they're hoping to get passed through on a federal level. And then in Arizona, we are working on like taking a look at this act, and like I said, looking at different ways, different things that we see that we find could be very beneficial to family caregivers. And as we review more of these kind of documents, we're hoping that we can make some strides in the caregiving community and keep advocating for the family caregivers in Arizona.
And if, I don't know if you want to flip through and kind of just show them, it's not this, the national strategy is written for us. It's not written in government legalese. It's written, it's very easy to read.
Yes.
It's well organized. It's, point A, point 1, point 2, point 3. And so it is a great tool and something you can definitely jump into without having to be a lawyer or an expert.
Yeah, it's a very, very public friendly read.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And I do like how it's organized, very well organized. And I love some of the points that they brought up. I mean, the first one just kind of hit me and I was like, yes, duh. And it was like this whole thing about making sure that people know that they are caregivers.
Yes. Yeah.
What is a caregiver? What's the definition of a caregiver? Because we will go out to events with our banners and they're like, care for the caregivers, that's not us, I'm a parent. And I'm like, oh,
exactly.
But you are a caregiver, right?
Yeah.
Parenting is so much more dynamic than maybe the person next to you has to be. And so that like there's just a lot of things where I was like, yes, this is amazing. So for those of you who are nerds like me, who love reading this kind of stuff, it's a great read. And it's just so nice to also know that other people are thinking about this issue and have actually put effort into trying to solve some of the roadblocks and the barriers and the problems and the struggles that we have raising kids with disabilities.
Absolutely. There's a sense of community built right into the document.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I spent the whole time going, yeah.
Me too. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you for coming on. We'll just leave this short and sweet, and I will make sure to put the link in the chat box for you guys who are watching on Facebook. For those of you who will watch this in an upcoming webinar or an email blast, I will have all of the links for you in the text. But again, raise your voice, come out here and say what you need and tell them what you need and tell them what possible solutions are. This is our opportunity to actually get stuff done on a federal level. So I just want to put that out there. Absolutely. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, caregivers.
Thank
We're
you.
so grateful for all of you.
Awesome. All right. Have a good one, ladies.